Oh, well.
Alrighty, welcome to another Travel Tuesday. Today I am here with one of my best friends in the world, Anjesh. He is from northern India, and we met at UC actually, like, what was it, 2 years ago now?
Yeah, 2 years.
2 years ago? It was at an epic party. I don't even remember. It was for Tanmay, I think.
Yeah.
And we just met. We were sitting down on the couch, and we met, and we became the best of friends. And today we're going to be talking about if you only had 2 weeks to travel India, where to go, what to do, and all that kind of stuff. But before we get into it, I just want to introduce Anjesh a little bit further and help you understand his travel journey and background with traveling. So first off, when did you begin traveling, and why did you start traveling?
So it was more out of need because I kept moving after I graduated from high school. So I kept moving around India. So lived in Rajasthan for a while. Then I moved to south of India. So that's how I started exploring different bits and parts of India. And then I got hooked on like trying new cuisines, meeting new people. I haven't learned any other language other than English and Hindi, but I try to learn new words and I get by. So it has been a nice experience, people from different cultural background than me, even in India, and talking to them and understanding their perspective. So I did my graduation from Manipal, which is in South India, and that's one of the place I'm going to recommend visiting today. It's my favorite place in the whole world, but it was untouched quite a bit a while ago. But I think it has been picked up by guidebooks, so it's I think more crowded now.
Yeah.
But still, it's my favorite place to be in. And then I got into hiking and camping because of one of my friends, where I was working in a startup. And then I started visiting Munnar. I started visiting places around Karnataka. So it has been a fun journey. And then when I moved to US, I met a couple of friends who were into camping and mountaineering, and with them I explored Michigan. I have been to a lot of other places, and that's what my journey is.
Amazing. And then outside of you have experienced all of India, it sounds like. And outside of India and the US, have you traveled to other countries?
I've only been to Germany for a bit, but that was for work. But
Cool.
I haven't been outside these two places.
Cool. But you've done a lot in these two places. And then lastly, when you travel, do you usually go with, or like when you were doing it mainly in, because you said you were with friends in the US, but in India, were you doing it by yourself most of the time or with a travel group or?
So it usually used to be a couple of friends, like it would be a group of two or three, not more than that. But
Okay.
sometimes it would be a group of 50 people that I used to take them out because it was kind of a work training. So that was actually in Kerala. So we used to have people sign up like where we wanted to go and other people wanted to go. So I actually took 50 to 100 people at one time to places, and we used to get big buses for them.
No
I had
way.
a lot of fun. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Now where did you stay? Did you stay in like hotels, hostels, camp, or?
So if I go camping, I take my tent. Otherwise, I usually end up staying in hotels. We don't have hostel trend yet in India, but they are in big cities like Mumbai. You can
Right.
find them. But
Mm-hmm.
hotels are quite cheap if you share with like a couple of other people.
Yeah.
So that's how I travel. But most places I used to live there. So, and it was a 4 hour drive or 5 hour drive. So I never had to take hotels for long term
Yeah.
wherever I went.
Cool. Cool. Well, that's a good little background, and now let's get into it. So for someone that wants to visit India but is on a 2 week limit of free time, where would you suggest them starting? Where would we be flying into?
So I am a bit biased about South because I've lived there. My favorite places are in there. But depending on what you're trying to see. So if you love beaches and tropical climate, I would suggest you pick the southern part of India and do that. But if you are into like visiting mountains and national park, I would suggest going to northeast part of India.
Okay.
But if you are like into a desert or exploring something like that, it's the west part of India.
There's so
But
much, huh?
yeah, for if you just have 2 weeks and starting to get into India, I would suggest starting in Mumbai
Okay.
and covering the southern part of India. You won't be able to cover everything, but I think I can easily cover 3 states in like 2 weeks.
Okay. And how many states are there in total?
Last time I checked, it was I think 27, but it
Okay.
might have increased.
Cool. So, from how much time would you suggest staying in Mumbai?
So Mumbai is a very big city. So it has lot to explore and do. You will get a culture shock for sure, but I wouldn't suggest more than one or 2 days in Mumbai. So if you go to Mumbai, the only place I would suggest visiting is Elephanta Caves. That's one of the UNESCO heritage site. So how you get there is, I think it's open in afternoon. So you have ferries from Gateway of India going there. So if you're just spending one day, this is what I would do: is go to Gateway of India, explore that place, wait for the ferry, hop on, explore Elephanta Cave, come back, and probably take a walk along Marine Drive and chop a tea and explore the night scene there.
Nice. How's the night scene in Mumbai? Pretty crazy?
Yeah, so if you go to Marine Drive, it's like a fair like thing, like food stalls you will find everywhere. You will find some artists performing, you'll find hawkers selling stuff. It's like a hustle bustle of like a fair
Got it.
in the evening. So you will find a lot of street food, and you should probably try vada pav there. That's one of the famous food, vada pav.
Okay. Got
It's
it.
like a potato burger patty kind of thing.
Okay. Note
So it's
taking on that.
vegetarian. Yeah.
And
It's
then
with it's
after
veg.
our
Yeah.
1 or 2 days there, where would you suggest heading if we do decide to do the southern part of India and want to get the
So
tropical vibes?
so I would suggest Goa is like 8 hours of train drive. You could take flights if you are trying to save time, or you could take a bus. So I would suggest going to Goa. It's most popular destination in India.
It's called Goa.
Yeah, Goa, Goa.
Got it.
So it has a lot of beaches and it has very hip life, nightlife. So you would find a lot of people from around the world there just staying there for months and months.
Yeah.
And every time I have been to Goa, it has been a blast.
Okay.
So,
What are some recommendations for when we're there?
so if you go there, get a motorbike.
Okay.
So that's the easiest way to travel around Goa. Goa is such a small state that you can cover from one side of the Goa to other side in 4 hours.
Wow. So it's really small.
It's a really small state.
Okay. And is it pretty easy to get a motorbike there?
Yes. So you have to be a bit careful where you rent motorbike, is because if you rent it near the station, because they know you don't know. So I would suggest renting it near where you're staying. If you get a hostel or hotel, so
Mhm.
ask them and get there, because if you try to rent them from the railway station or wherever you're like airport, they will be a bit costly.
Yeah. Okay. So get one close to where you're staying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, is there any particular best time of the year to visit
So
South Africa
so
or India?
so the best time to visit the south, even north, is October before summer. That means March. So October to Feb.
October to February?
Yeah,
Okay.
because otherwise it's too hot.
Okay. Even in the north?
Yeah, even in the north. Unless you're trying to go lower Himalayan regions, because they are closed off during winter, the only time they open is summer,
Okay.
because the roads open then.
Okay. And then, are
Other
there
than
any particular times of the year? Are there any like big in the south of India? So let's stick with the south if we're choosing that route. Are there any big festivals or cultural traditions or anything or
Yes,
holidays?
so there are a lot of festivals, but if you're going from October to March, you would miss most of them.
Ah,
because most of them are harvest festival or centered around those. So those seasons end then. The only festival I think that you could uh, attend is it's in Kerala. It's called Temple Festival. So they have a big uh, fair where you see a lot of elephants.
Really?
Elephants, yes.
And
So
where is this?
it's in Kerala. I think the best place would be Thrissur. Trisur.
Okay.
Thrissur.
Is that close to Goa?
Uh, no, so you would have to go to Kerala to be there. So Goa, and then there's one other state in between, and then Kerala.
Okay. Cool.
So it's in November actually. So you could actually, if you plan around that, you can actually get to see. It's very grandeur to say the least. Like imagine like 1,000 elephants all like decorated, and they're marching down the street and there are bands playing. It's I think one of the biggest experience which I never had been to, but I wish I will do that someday. But that's
Well,
one
we'll
of the
have to go
biggest
back.
festival.
That sounds
Yes.
epic.
Otherwise, there are boat races and stuff like that, but all of those are around Onam, which is a harvest festival that ends before even October starts. So
Right. What month is Diwali in?
Diwali is in November, but it's like you would see more of Diwali kind of celebration in north of India.
Ah, okay.
Diwali is celebrated all over India, but north of India they have fairs, they have big temples and stuff like that. But in South India, you still have those, but not like North India.
Right. Okay.
So if other festival you are trying to visit is one I would suggest is Holi. It's after March, but it's very hot. So I would suggest going to north of India in Vrindavan.
Okay.
That's one place.
Got it. And then how long would you suggest spending in Goa?
Goa, depending on how much you find, like because it gets repetitive after a while because it's all beach, and in the night there's like nightlife. It's pretty crazy, but there are two parts of Goa, North Goa and South Goa. So North Goa is where all the nightlife is. South Goa is little laid back. So one of the beaches that I would suggest to definitely visit is called Arambol. Arambol, Arambol.
Okay.
So if you, I think you will find people learning yoga there, practicing and meditating. I think they started offering classes too there. So you might take yoga instructor classes and become a yoga guru.
Wow. It sounds like a cool little healthy place.
Yeah, it
Beach
is.
lifestyle.
Yeah,
Cool.
so that's one of the places in Goa you should go. Otherwise, all of the Goa is you can cover within 4 hours. So 2 to 3 days, at max 4 days if you really like it.
Right. And then so say we stay there for a few days, where from Goa is a good next stopping point in the
Which
south?
is my favorite place. It's called Gokarna.
How do you spell that?
Gokarna, Gokarna.
Got it.
It's about 4 hours drive. It's the same as Goa, but Goa you'll find a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to relax, you won't be left alone because there's like someone right beside you, like 5 yards.
Right.
So this is what it's similar vibe to Goa, but it's more hippie and laid back than Goa. And that's why I like it because you have to trek down. There's a beach called Kudle Beach. That's where I would suggest you to go first. So from Goa to Gokarna, you would have to take a train. It's 4 hours journey. And then you will get down on Gokarna Road Junction, and from there take a taxi.
Got it.
And you can stay on hotel on a beach. Last time I was there was one hotel coming up on Kudle Beach. So you can try because that's the best place to be. It's called Hotel Gokarna International, and the
Okay.
prices are reasonable. So,
Nice.
and
What
they
are
have pool inside. So after you take a dip in the sea, you can go in the pool and clean up.
Yeah. What are some recommendations once we get there? Like why is it your favorite place?
So it's favorite place because the people you meet there, they are
Yeah.
pretty unique. Every time I've gone there, I've met people who are kind of like very open. And in the evening, you can't do that this in Goa. So in the evening, so they have a you trek down the mountain to get to the beach, and there are like little shacks on the side, and there a beach stretch, and then there's sea. So if you stay on the beach, so people usually in the evening they get around, light a bonfire, play music, talk, eat, all that, share stories.
That sounds right
So
up my alley.
yeah, so that's why I love Gokarna, because every time I've been there, I had good time, and you get time to think and reflect because it's so peaceful. There won't be anyone coming up to you and trying to sell you things in the
Right.
night. Yeah,
So it's much more laid back than
yeah.
other places. Um, are there any? What is the safety like in these two places? Is it pretty safe, or are
So
there things to
Goa,
watch out for?
Goa is very touristy, so it's generally safe. Just don't go into alley. It's just common sense. Don't go alone with someone who you just met.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of thing. Gokarna is pretty safe unless you venture out somewhere in the woods.
Got it.
Right? Yeah.
So,
So just be around people. Be mindful about where you are. That's all.
right. And most people, for someone that's visiting that doesn't know uh, Hindi, most people here speak English, correct?
Yes, I do not speak the language where Gokarna is Kannada.
Ah,
I never had a problem.
okay.
Everyone
Cool.
speaks. They sometimes they will speak broken English, but you can convey where you want to go, and they will take you there.
So you can get by.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, all right, so after we stop in this place and chill out for a little bit and get some rest time, is
Yeah.
there any other?
So Gokarna, this is just one beach. So first day you might stay there, and then you can trek down to parallel beaches. So there are stretch of beaches around. Uh, so you have to trek down. It's like a mountainous region, kind of like a hills. So it's a beautiful trek in the morning.
Nice.
Go to the other beach. It's as chill as every other place. But Gokarna is not just famous for the beach. It's one of the holy religious sites. So you could actually go and see the temples.
Wow.
I don't know the policy of letting non-Hindus in the temples, but I would maybe they might have some policy, but you can still look from outside and see the architecture and stuff.
Wow, that sounds super cool.
It's actually a temple town.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. What where would you go after there? Because now
So
we're like, I think we've probably covered a week and we have a week
yeah,
left.
yeah. So next week I would suggest going to Kerala and spending there. Is how you would get there is from Gokarna. It's not a big city, so there's no flight or main train station. So you would have to go to the big city, Mangalore.
Okay.
It's about 4 hours by train. But if you're trying to take the flight, which I would suggest to save time, from Mangalore airport to Trivandrum
Okay.
to get to Kerala. So you're better off taking a taxi to get to the airport, because airport is about 60 kilometers from the main city. So you get to the city, take a taxi, and it will cost you probably more.
Okay.
And so you take the airport to Mangalore airport, taxi to Mangalore airport, or you can take a bus. And then from Mangalore, I would suggest going to Trivandrum. That's one of the airport. So from Trivandrum, this is my second favorite place, is called Varkala. So
Cool.
how you get to Varkala from Trivandrum is you will again take a taxi. It will take you 1.5 hours to get there. It's the vibe is same as Gokarna, but it's more crowded and more popular.
Okay. And what
So
are some good things to do here?
so you can do water sports, like they have paragliding and stuff. But what I usually ended up doing is, because they have live band playing, they have like I ended up meeting a lot of people, and then there are things to do, like it's just kind of like a place where you go to relax and chill,
Nice.
eat food, sitting by the sea, You have a sea view, so you can sit in the restaurant, eat your food, drink coffee, and they have like a fresh catch of fishes that you can pick what you want to be cooked.
Nice. Do you have any food recommendations?
So Varkala is very touristy place, so you will get all kinds of food from around the world, but I wouldn't really make it a point to have something local there. But if you're in Kerala, try the beef roast and parota.
Barota?
Yeah, it's
Got it.
just a flat bread, but it's a special kind of flat bread.
Okay.
Very flaky, and they have like the best beef roast. I think the only place you will find beef in India is Kerala and Goa. Other than that, other places, no.
Okay. Cool. So then after there, we have like 3 or 4 days left. Where would
Yes.
be our last
So,
spot?
so I would suggest you going to Alleppey.
LP?
I can't pronounce the name. I don't want to butcher what the commons call, but in Latin name, it's Alleppey.
Okay.
So there, I would suggest you don't miss the chance to rent a houseboat
A
and take
houseboat.
a cruise. Yes.
Okay.
So what happens is you rent the houseboat, you go there, you get in, they ask you what food you want, they'll buy everything, they'll cook for you in the houseboat, and serve you dinner in the night. The only thing you have to be mindful is Kerala is kind of alcohol. It's alcohol is not freely available in Kerala. The only places you get is 3-star hotels. So you might have to arrange for that if you
You,
want to have those.
oh,
Alcohol
you can't have alcohol?
you can have, but it's not easily available. Like you can't get it anywhere, like walk in somewhere, any restaurant and get
Gotcha.
it. It's only
Ah.
served in 3-star hotels and above.
Okay.
And I think the drinking age is 23
Wow.
in that state.
Well, I passed. I can
Yeah.
drink there. Cool.
So,
So
but
that's a good little journey around. And then how far are we now from Mumbai? Like, how are we getting?
Mumbai is a bit far. So what I would suggest is if you can squeeze in, like if you have a couple of more days left, I would suggest you to go to Munnar. It's a tea plantation.
That's a tea plantation?
Yes. So you
Interesting.
can take tours, stay in the farmhouse, take the tour, get some tea, learn the history of how tea was initially planted there.
Wow. That sounds like an experience I would love.
Yeah.
I love learning about the background of places and interesting things that come from the countries.
Yes. And there's a lot to do, but within 2 weeks, I would suggest not squeezing more things because you will miss out on other experiences.
Right.
Like even this is like squeezing things like to the max, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, cool. Well, we'll do another one sometime with more time and we can cover the north and the west side. Um, but so most of the places we can get around either train or bus, you suggest?
Yeah, so if you're doing 2 week travel, I would avoid train and buses as much as possible because it takes a lot of time to get. You might spend overnight and spend a day just traveling.
Right.
There goes your time. And flights are not that costly, domestic flights. Just
Okay.
make sure don't book it through like uh, site. Just go to .in domain and then book the flight. It will
Okay.
be really cheap. Because if you go to .com that's made for like outside or from a travel site, it might be costly.
Okay. So what is it? Will you say that again?
So if you are trying to book flight, suppose Indigo is one of the flight provider in India. So go to indigo.in and see the prices.
INDIGO.in.
Yes. Yeah, IN as in India.
Got it.
Domain name, yeah.
Wow, that's a good tip.
It applies to any country. Like when I was coming to US, I checked like from New York to flight to Cincinnati. And when I went to travel site, it was costlier. And then when came to the official site of American Airlines, it was cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, they always bump it up on those other ones. That's cool. And then few more questions, but Are there any cultural experiences that like you highly suggest someone doing to get like the authentic Indian culture and experience? Like,
So what I would suggest is Indians are very open. If you get a chance to make friend and then invite you to their house, of course you have to make the judgment. But if you get that chance to experience the local, like eat their home food, I would really suggest do that, because nothing else beats getting local experience than going to a person who has lived their his whole life and eaten what's grown around.
right.
So that experience I would suggest. But otherwise, rest of the experience is like you can have, anyone can have those.
Yeah.
Like like visiting the festival, like boat house and stuff. But the main thing about it cultural is like India is very different. Like if you go to Goa, it was a Portuguese colony. So the culture is totally different than you go to Kerala, and as you move more into interiors, they become more cultural. So if you go in a city, that's why I suggested not staying in Mumbai for long, because you will get a culture shock because there's so many people and so many things to do, hustle bustle, but you won't really get to see what India is. It's
Right.
just another city.
So you suggest finding a family or something outside of one of the big cities and
Yes,
trying to get an experience with them?
yes,
Yeah. Are there Airbnbs there?
yes. There are Airbnbs.
Yeah, that'd be a cool experience. Just get hosted by like a family and stay at their Airbnb.
Yeah, I think there's couch surfing also, but it's a hit and miss couch surf.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
never actually done couch surfing. Have you?
neither have I. I was there when I was in India, but people never came to me. So
Yeah, I've done the couch surfing events, but never actually couch surfed.
yeah,
So cool. And then I think that covered everything.
yeah,
That's a
and it
good.
just we just cover 3 states, not even complete South.
I know, but I'm saying I think that covered all my questions for a 2-week trip around India. We covered a lot. So, are there any other suggestions or tips for someone who
So
wants
one
to
suggestion would be prices are not fixed.
negotiate?
Yeah,
Got it.
because it's usually like different prices when you walk in. Sometimes it's like they look at you and they're like, he can pay that much. Okay, they'll ask that much, and if you pay upfront, yeah.
So,
So and don't buy things from like touristy places. Like go to places where actual Indians actually go and buy stuff.
yeah, the local
If you
place.
want souvenir, that's fine, but don't get it in like the middle of the hot spot. It will be usually costlier.
Okay.
Like at the beach, like Varkala beach, if you go to the shops on the beach, it will be costlier than you go to the town, explore a bit, and get the same stuff.
Okay. Cool. Alrighty. Well, that's a good 2-week trip around India that I'm definitely going to be taking, hopefully with you sometime in the near future. But
Yes, definitely.
hopefully we'll turn it into like a month and we can do the north. Well, I don't know what all we can cover in a month, but I would love to
Yeah,
go.
we'll make sure that we cover at whatever we can.
Right.
And it's not like that we have to cover everything. If you really like something, you should stay for one more day, I guess. So
Right. I think I'm going to like Goa. It sounds like right up my alley.
yeah, it is.
So,
But you might end up liking Gokarna more because it's not that crowded and not that commercial, basically.
okay. Yeah.
Goa is very commercial, touristy. Like you get everything. Imagine getting a French bread on the beach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I definitely like the off the beaten paths. So I'm excited to go. But thank you for joining us and offering your advice on 2 weeks in India.
well, thank you for having me.
Yes, it was
Hopefully we
fun.
can do this in December, I guess. That's when I'm going. But let's see.
Yeah. One of these times I'm joining you.
Yes,
So
definitely.
alrighty. Thank you for joining us. And until next time.